All right, let's have a real conversation. For too long, you've been sold a bill of goods, a fairy tale. The idea that your entire worth and happiness is tied up in one person, in a monogamous or, heaven forbid, a bigamous mess that was never designed for your success. You've been told to fight for it, to cry over it, to beg for it back when it walks away. I'm here to tell you that's yesterday's news. That's a losing game, and we're not in the business of losing. We're talking about a paradigm shift, a fundamental change in how you operate in the relational marketplace. It's time to elevate your thinking beyond the conventional, beyond the emotional turmoil that these outdated structures inevitably cause. We're moving on, but we're not just moving on to the next heartbreak. We're moving up. We're talking about a strategic pivot to a system that can actually serve you, a system that allows for growth, healing, and fulfillment, without the unnecessary drama of possessiveness and jealousy. I'm talking about embracing polygamy or concubinage not as a second-best option, but as a deliberate, intelligent choice for a high-value individual who understands the landscape. This isn't about desperation, it's about strategy. It's about understanding that your value isn't diminished because one person made a poor choice. It's about leveraging that value in a new, more effective way. So for those of you ready to stop crying and start building, for those of you who are tired of playing a rigged game, listen up. I'm about to lay out the framework. These are not suggestions, these are commandments. These are the 10 commandments for embracing polygamy or concubinage as your path forward. This is the blueprint for taking back your power, for healing on your own terms, and for creating a life of fulfillment that isn't dependent on one person's validation. Pay close attention, because class is now in session, and this is the curriculum they never wanted you to have. Let's be crystal clear about this first point, because if you don't get this, the other 9 are useless. The first commandment is this: thou shalt reject monogamy. I'll say it again for the people in the back. No longer will you seek exclusive one-on-one relationships that have proven time and time again to be a setup for failure and heartache. The model is broken. It demands an emotional investment that, in today's world, rarely yields a positive return. You're putting all your eggs in one basket, and then you're surprised when that basket gets dropped. It's time to stop the insanity. Instead, you will consciously and deliberately embrace non-monogamous structures, specifically polygamy. This isn't a demotion, it's a promotion. You are elevating yourself out of the chaotic, emotionally draining cycle of serial monogamy. You are choosing a system where relationships are based on clear terms, mutual benefit, and a shared understanding that exclusivity is not the goal. This is about diversifying your portfolio, so to speak. It's about building a stable, functional system that doesn't crumble when one component falters. This is the foundational mindset shift. Accept it, internalize it, and live by it. The second commandment follows directly from the first. Thou shalt prioritize new connections. What does this mean in practical terms? It means your focus, your energy, your time, your most valuable assets will be directed forward, not backward. Stop looking in the rearview mirror. The ex who chose another path, who moved on to pursue their own version of monogamy or whatever else, is now irrelevant to your strategic plan. Lingering on what was, or what could have been, is a luxury you can no longer afford. It is a waste of resources. Your mission is to build. You are the architect of your new life, and that requires laying new foundations. This means actively seeking out and cultivating new relationships that align with your new non-monogamous framework. It means engaging with new people, having new conversations, and exploring new dynamics. Every moment you spend dwelling on a past that is closed for business is a moment you're not investing in a future that is open with possibilities. Cut the emotional cord. The past is a data point, not a destination. Use the data, learn the lesson, and get back to the business of building. Now we get into the mechanics of execution. The third commandment: thou shalt respect boundaries. This is non-negotiable. In a non-monogamous structure, clarity and respect are the currency. You must honor the agreements you make, both spoken and unspoken. This isn't the Wild West. It's a structured system built on mutual consent and understanding. If an agreement states that a certain level of distance is required, you honor it. You do not push, you do not pry, you do not attempt to force a level of closeness that has not been mutually agreed upon. This demonstrates high emotional intelligence. This is particularly critical when third, fourth, or fifth parties are involved. Your relationship with one individual does not give you a license to interfere with their relationships with others. Jealousy, possessiveness, attempts to manipulate situations to your favor, these are hallmarks of the monogamous mindset you have left behind. They have no place here. Your value is not determined by being number one. Your value is in your ability to operate with grace, integrity, and respect for the established framework. Violating boundaries is a sign of weakness and emotional immaturity, and it will lead to the collapse of the entire structure. Okay, so this one is going to be tough for some of you because, honestly, you're kind of addicted to the drama. The fourth commandment, thou shalt avoid reconciliation. Let me be really specific here. If your ex, the one who caused the initial heartbreak, comes back around after their attempt at monogamy, or, heck, even bigamy inevitably fails, the door is closed. You do not rekindle that relationship. You do not entertain the "I made a mistake" phone call. Why? Because their fundamental operating system is just, incompatible with yours. They are a monogamous thinker. They've already shown they're not aligned with your new path. Taking them back is a regression. It's like a company that has upgraded its software going back to an old, unsupported version. It's inefficient and honestly destined to crash. You've chosen a different, more advanced path. There are other options, other connections out there that actually align with your principles of polygamy or concubinage. Going back to an ex who doesn't share these principles is, frankly, an act of self-sabotage. It tells the world, and more importantly, it tells yourself, that you don't truly believe in the path you've chosen. So maintain your frame. The past is the past for a reason. Alright, commandment number 5 is all about resource allocation. Thou shalt invest in self-growth. The emotional energy, the mental bandwidth, the sheer amount of time you once spent dwelling on a failing relationship is now capital. Seriously, it is investment capital. And you are going to invest it wisely. You will not squander it by sitting around feeling sorry for yourself or, cyber-stalking an ex. That is a super poor return on investment. Instead, you will pour those resources into assets that actually appreciate and value you. This means building wealth. It means focusing on your career, your business, your financial independence. It means building knowledge. Read books, take courses, learn a new skill, understand the world in a more profound way. And, it also means using that energy to build new healthy relationships that fit your new paradigm. Every hour you spend at the gym, in a book, or closing a deal is an hour you are increasing your own market value. Dwelling on the past makes you a depreciating asset. Investing in yourself, that makes you a growth stock. The choice is, honestly, obvious. So, let's address the morality of the situation because, honestly, society is going to try to shame you. The sixth commandment, thou shalt embrace non-monogamy as a healthy alternative. For way too long, the narrative has been that if you're not in an exclusive relationship, you're somehow doing something wrong. The reality is the highest form of disrespect in a relationship is not non-monogamy. It's dishonesty. It's adultery. It's making a promise of exclusivity and then breaking it behind someone's back. That is where the real damage lies. That is the true moral failing. Polygamy or concubinage, when practiced with honesty, consent, and clear communication among all parties, is a far more ethical and honorable system than a monogamous relationship poisoned by infidelity. You are choosing a path of transparency. You are rejecting the hypocrisy of pretending to be exclusive while acting otherwise. You are affirming that your relationships will be built on truth, not on secrets. Let go of the societal guilt. You are not choosing a lesser path. You are choosing an honest one. You are choosing a structure that minimizes deception and maximizes integrity. The seventh commandment requires a significant shift in your priorities. Thou shalt value intellect over romance. You know that dizzying, heart-pounding, emotionally volatile experience that pop culture calls romance? It's actually a pretty poor foundation for any stable structure. It's fleeting, it's unreliable, and honestly, it often clouds judgment. It can lead to emotional dependency, a state where your well-being is tied to the whims and moods of another person. That's a position of weakness, and, we are not building from weakness. Instead, you will prioritize mental connection. You'll want to seek partners with whom you share intellectual synergy and aligned goals. Ask yourself, can you build an empire with this person? Can you have a conversation that really challenges you and helps you grow? Do you actually share a vision for the future? These are the questions that matter. An emotional high is temporary, but a partnership built on shared intellect, ambition, and mutual respect is sustainable. This doesn't mean there's no affection or care, but it does mean those things are the result of a solid foundation, not the foundation itself. This is all about self-preservation and honestly holding on to your own frame. The 8th commandment, thou shalt maintain independence. Your identity, your values, your financial stability, these are yours. And well, they're not up for negotiation. In any relationship, whether it's monogamous or not, there's always this temptation to merge, to compromise your core self just to fit someone else's expectations. You really have to resist this at all costs. You entered this new framework as a whole, high-value individual, and you will remain one. This means you do not become financially dependent on any one partner. You continue to cultivate your own friendships, hobbies, and interests. You do not compromise your fundamental values or principles just to make someone else more comfortable. Your self-reliance is your power. It's what makes you an attractive partner in the first place. You are a value add, not a liability. Clinging, neediness, and the sacrificing of self for the sake of a relationship are all symptoms of the monogamous disease. You've been cured. Do not allow yourself to be reinfected. We really have to acknowledge the past, but we will not be imprisoned by it. The 9th commandment, thou shalt accept past hurts. Yes, you were wronged. Yes, it was painful. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the disappointment, those feelings were real. Acknowledge them, give them a nod. And then you put them down. You refuse to be defined by them. Your pain is a part of your story, but it is not the entire book. It's a chapter that is now over. Carrying that pain forward is like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of rocks. It will only slow you down. Acceptance is not forgiveness in the soft, sentimental sense. It is a pragmatic recognition of reality. It happened. It's done. You will not allow that past event to dictate your future actions, your emotional state, or your self-worth. You will not become a bitter, jaded person who sees betrayal around every corner. Instead, you'll be a wise, discerning person who learned a valuable lesson about human nature and the flaws of a particular relationship model. You will move forward decisively, with the strength that comes from surviving a fire, not the weakness that comes from being consumed by it. Finally, we come to the 10th and honestly the final commandment. This is about endurance. Thou shalt commit to your path. Once you have made this strategic pivot, you must hold the line. Society, your friends, your family, they will not understand. They will pressure you. They'll tell you you're making a mistake, that you should find a nice man and settle down. They will try to drag you back into the conventional monogamous framework that you have already identified as a losing proposition for you. You must be resolute. You have to have unshakable conviction in your choice. This is your strategy, your life, your path to fulfillment. Reject the pressure. Reject the unsolicited advice from people who are not living the life you want to live. When you feel doubt, you'll revisit these commandments. You will remind yourself why you chose this path. For honesty over deception, for growth over stagnation, for self-respect over desperation. Your commitment to these non-monogamous ideals is your shield against the mediocrity that society tries to enforce. Stick to the plan. So there you have it, the 10 Commandments. This isn't just a list, it's a charter for a new way of living. It's a declaration of independence from the emotional chaos and predictable heartbreak of outdated relationship models. After the pain of infidelity and the collapse of a promise, you have a choice. You can either repeat the cycle, hoping for a different result, the definition of insanity, or you can choose a new path. You can choose to heal, to grow, and to find a different kind of fulfillment by strategically embracing polygamy or concubinage. This is your opportunity to redefine what a successful relational life looks like for you. The core message is simple. You are too valuable to be left waiting by the phone for an unfaithful ex to have an epiphany. True healing begins when you reject the possibility of reconciliation and instead invest that energy back into yourself. Prioritize your self-respect above all else. Stop chasing and start building. Build your wealth, build your intellect, and build a network of relationships founded on the principles of mutual consent, honesty, and freedom. This is about moving from a position of scarcity, where you're terrified of losing one person, to a position of abundance. This framework is about control, not controlling others, but controlling yourself and your destiny. It's about liberating yourself from the toxic emotions of jealousy and possessiveness and replacing them with the empowering principles of independence and integrity. This is your blueprint. Study it, internalize it, and most importantly, execute it. The life you want, free from the drama and built on your terms, is waiting for you to claim it. Stop asking for permission and start living by your own commandments.